I'm glad you're all here. Somebody tell me why we're here.
Me?
Okay. You know, I really want to congratulate the inductees, Betty Persina, Brian Huth, Tom Young, and I'm sorry, junior bowlers, names are, Doug?
Names are Abby Powell.
Abby Powell, congratulations.
Kirsten Miller.
Kirsten Miller, congratulations. This is your evening, and I'm only in the way. Okay, I'm going to exercise a little brevity. I hope you don't mind. Would Tom's daughter stand up? If you know Tom, the apple didn't fall very far from the tree. I talked to his wife, and if you know Tom, he was 6'11" and 3/4. On a good day, I'm 5'6" and 1/4.
That's on the stool, right?
It might very well be. It might very well be. Wow.
Yeah, sucks.
Little bit of,
You break it.
what do you call that, feedback?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, a lot of feedback.
You're screeching.
What are we doing now, Tom?
Trying to get her.
Okay, good. If you have a program, don't follow along. Because we don't know what we're doing. I want to, okay, is the camera running? I want to give a shout out to Joe Belknap and Sandy Belknap. They wanted to be here, but they couldn't. They had another engagement. They want to send their congratulations to Betty and Brian and Tom. And Joe said, don't say anything bad about him. So we're going to turn the mic off now, turn the camera off now, and we're going to cut that part of the program out. I do have some jokes. They're awful. They're one-liners. They're not too taxing. Oh, by the way, there's a AAA announcement that a lot of accidents happen 20 miles from home, so I moved. Boy, am I dying up here or what? Well, if I can't have fun, I'm not
Hold on,
going
Mike, we're gonna have some technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're changing things, so we don't have the back feed.
Oh. Maybe I sound good as back feed.
Maybe not.
Can you see me in the back of the room?
Ready? Hold on 1 second.
You probably don't want to.
Try that one.
Let my people go. Are we on time yet? Thank you, James. Well done. He's our, no, not vocalist. He's our music for the evening. He also does weddings and bar mitzvahs and well, now's your chance. Now's your chance to do a bar mitzvah. Let's not exclude anybody, really. Oh, damn, what am I supposed to do?
Introduce who's coming in.
Okay, Vicky. Oh, Vicky's gonna give the info before they come in?
No, bring your people in.
Let my people go. Okay, we got Betty Persina.
Are you doing it?
Go right ahead.
No.
You want to stand up?
I am standing up. Is this better? All right, tonight's inductees, we have Betty Frisina, escorted by Larry Hoffman.
Stand up, Larry. Tell Larry to stand up.
I was told you to stand up, Larry.
Stand up, Larry.
Brian Huth,
Huth.
Huth? Huth, escorted by Natalie Hanks.
Posthumously, yeah.
All right, next, Tom Young, posthumous, late,
Posthumously.
po- posthumously. Wife, Kathleen Young, escorted by Sean Young.
That's not Sean Young, is it? That's not Sean Young, is it?
All right, so now we need Vicky, right?
John Smith.
She's.
It was Sean Smith,
What did I say?
disguised as Sean Young. That's okay. You got the Sean right. Sean Smith.
I'm sober.
So am I, unfortunately.
All right.
Okay.
Vicky,
Vicky, where are you?
she's gonna do it in the middle.
This is a solemn moment. We need to have grace. Please bow your heads.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings that you have given us this evening of food and fellowship. Help us to not take these gifts for granted. Bless the time that we will have together tonight and the fellowship that will result from our time together. And Father, bless this food we are about to partake of, that it may nourish our bodies, satisfy our palates, and strengthen us with your goodness. Guide us to live as you have taught us to live. Teach us to forgive as you have shown us forgiveness. Lead us to love as you have shown us love. Guide us throughout this tonight and each day that follows to go forth glorifying you by our actions and deeds. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Tom, do you have anything now? Or are we gonna?
Yeah, we'll get most of the stuff done now.
Okay.
Prior to dinner.
Tom Archaki is the association president. Tom?
Thanks, Mike. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce our WCCUSBC board. Hopefully my voice will hold out for the whole evening. Myself as president, could you please stand as I introduce your name, please? Vicki Hine, vice president. Stacy Dodson, vice president. Morgan Tao, vice president. Christy Wolf, sergeant at arms. Michelle Ryanbo Cape, association manager. Betty Frisina, Tammy D. LaJonas, Natalie Hanks, Bruce Heim, Larry Hoffman, Jeff Keener, Nikki Lippert, Jess Miller, Sherry Reese, Ramon Rodriguez, Sean Smith, and Brandon Walkup. This is our Western Crawford County Board. Please give them a round of applause. Couldn't do this without you. Thank you. At this time, I'm also going to introduce our proprietors. If they're here, please stand up. Cockerton Lanes, Lee Duck is the proprietor. Lakeside Lanes is Coney Lake. Bruce Beers, Donnie Granda Jr., the proprietors. Lost Lanes is Cambridge Springs, Harry and Natalie Hanks, proprietors. And Plaza Lanes of Meadville is Kirk Baird and Ramon Rodriguez, sorry Ramon, proprietors. Thank you. We have to work with these people every day, and I really appreciate all the help that they do for the association. If there's any past inductees that are Hall of Fame members, male and or female, please stand up at this time to be recognized. All past inductees, please stand at this time. These are some of the best bowlers in Western Crawford County and the best people that gave meritorious service. Thank you. Thank you for what you do for bowling. At this time, if we could bow our heads for a moment of silence for all the departed members that we had. We've had quite a few this year, so please bow your head for a moment of silence. Thank you. Just a year in review. We had our normal association tournaments. All went well. We had a really successful juniors tournament down at Crawford. We now are going to have 2 weekends of that tournament. So that's a big success. The juniors are doing great. County tournament, we still have it. It goes around to the different houses all year. We have a jamboree and we have a mixed tournament. So we have a lot of good tournaments that the association puts on. We're giving money and stuff and trying to do a scholarships tournament for our juniors. That's our future. So if you can get out and support these tournaments, we'd really appreciate it. And it's a lot of fun. And Vicki makes them a lot of fun. And I'd like to send a special shout out to Vicki Heim. She's our tournament director for most all the tournaments. She does a great job. Please give Vicki a round of applause. And basically, that's all I have. Thank you.
I'm back. It's like a bad penny. Okay, what I would like to do now is, do we have any veterans in the audience? I'd like our veterans to stand. We do owe you a debt of gratitude, that we can never repay. So thanks to our veterans. I believe Ramon Rodriguez was responsible for the programs. Morgan Tao was responsible for the tickets. And back there is in the corner is a list of our sponsors. Please support our sponsors. And our big thank you to Ramon and Morgan for their work on the program and the tickets. Is it time to eat? You guys want to hear a joke? I know you don't.
Sure.
You're stuck with me. You're stuck with me. Oh, let's see here. What did the horse say after he tripped? Help, I've fallen and I can't giddy up. They get better after that one, believe me. Okay. What do you call a well-balanced horse? Stable. Folks, people pay good money for this kind of entertainment. And I do it for dinner. Okay. What do you call an angry carrot? A steamed veggie.
I think I'm better.
Where do polar bears keep their money? Come on. In a snowbank. Okay, this one takes some thought. What would bears be without bees? Ears, that is correct. Why do cows wear bells? Hell, their horns don't work. Any math majors out there? Any math majors? Math majors? What did the triangle say to the circle? You're pointless. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Okay, you've all heard of Amazon, you've all heard of FedEx, you've all heard of UPS. I ordered a chicken and an egg online. I'll let you know which one comes first. Oh boy. Why was Cinderella so bad at soccer? She kept running away from the ball. Any lawyers out there? What do lawyers wear to court? Lawsuits. What do elves learn in school? The alphabet.
Oh, yay.
What did one toilet say to the other? You look flushed. What lights up a soccer stadium? A soccer match. What's the difference between a poorly dressed man on a tricycle and a well-dressed man on a bicycle? A tire. What's happening?
They're ready to.
You're gonna end this misery?
Keep going. He's got a whole list up here.
Oh boy. I guess it's time to eat.
They're gonna dismiss the tables like.
I guess that's the only reason why I do this, because the head table goes first.
The bar will be open through dinner.
The bar will be open through dinner. Okay, one more. Why was the fish's grade so bad? They were below sea level.
I'll take that, Mike.
All right, at this time, I'm going to send the results of the Western Crawford County USBCBA 2021 tournaments. Men's scratch was gas mask. Men's handicap was we top tried. Women's handicap was Crawford and Lanes. Singles, men's scratch, Lee Duck. Men's handicap, Garrett Marachi. Women's handicap, Sherry Reese. Men's scratch, Tom Archaki, Mike Machuga. Men's handicap, Brian Malone, Scott Snyder. Women's handicap, Amanda Anthony, Kelly Nelson. All events, men's scratch, Mike Machuga. Men's handicap, Lori Rice. Women's handicap, Sherry Reese. The 5-600 Jamboree, Stacy Dotson, and the mystery doubles were Amy Thomas and Mary Campbell. Mixed couples was Brenda Gilland and Ronald Gilland. And the adult junior was Brenda Gilland and Kaylin Gilland. So congratulations to all of them. Those were our winners for our tournaments. And thanks to Morgan Tao for getting these dates. It's a hard thing to do, to get dates with everybody, with Vencraw and everybody else out there. These are our dates for our tournaments. Jamboree, December 4th at Lost Lanes. Mixed couples, January 14th and 15th, Lakeside Lanes. Adult Junior Open, February 25th and 26th of 2023. March 4th and 5th of 2023, Cockerton Lanes. County Tournament, March 25th and 26th of 2023, April 1st and 2nd, 2023. Singles and doubles will be at Plaza, team event at Cockerton. So that is the recap of that, and I am now going to turn this over to Mike. So thank you very much, and like I said, if you need any applications for the Jamboree and or the Hall of Fame, come see me.
Thank you, Tom. Besides me, we have some dignitaries. From the Butler area, we have Mike and Val Coyle. We have Bob and Karen Dewar. And the the vice president of the Pennsylvania State, whatever it's called now, Bowling Association, Susan and Terry. Is it Shekel? Shekel?
Yes.
And from now, what used to be Erie, now Northwest PA, John Mikowski and Brett Rurick is the president. Susan and Terry came from Harrisburg.
Just below.
Well, thank you for the drive, and we hope you have a safe trip going back.
Thank you.
Please be careful. Oh boy, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Armstrong Cable. I swear I have to look at that thing every year. Sometime they run it, well, thank God they run it in the middle of the night. Although it is on prime time on some occasions. Armstrong Cable, thank you for what you do for the community, really. And we're a small part of it, but I do want to thank Armstrong Cable. I would also be remiss if I did not recognize Jim Hunter. Where is Jim Hunter? Jim Hunter writes for the paper, and like a lot of people, on Thursday mornings, I go to the sports page. I see what Jim has to say. He gives us a lot of coverage. He's an excellent writer. It's a credit to his profession when non-bowlers read Jim's articles. And they do look forward to Jim's articles on a weekly basis. So I do want to thank Jim Hunter and the Meadville Tribune. Where did I leave off on my jokes? Oh, yeah. Anybody know what Forrest Gump's password is? One, Forrest, one. Oh, why shouldn't you write with a broken pen? It's pointless. What did one wall say to the other? I'll meet you at the corner. What do sea monsters eat? Fish and ships. Oh boy. What do you call a bad strawberry? A sad strawberry? A blueberry. Doug, are you ready? I'm dying up here. Somebody said, please. Please.
First of all, I have no jokes.
I don't either.
Oh, that's obvious. First of all, I want to congratulate the inductees, Betty, Brian, and Tom's family. It's a wonderful thing. Glad to have you in. And the honorees, Abby and Kirsten, congratulations. For those who've been coming for years, you've probably heard me say the same thing over and over again. We honor the junior bowlers for many reasons. It gives them something, it's a goal to work for, and a lot of the kids just bowl for fun, and that's what it's all about. The junior bowling primarily is there to introduce the sport to youths and give them a chance to learn it. Some take it to heart and really go for it. Some just are there for, like I said, for fun and just have a good time and socialize with their friends. And that's great. That's really what it's all about. But there are those who kind of take it a little bit further, and some of them just improve naturally. Some of us just get worse naturally. But as time goes on, especially as you get older. The thing is, with the junior leagues now, what we're seeing, it's like all leagues. The numbers are down, and a lot of the junior leagues are now consisting of much younger kids. So you don't bring those young kids to a Hall of Fame banquet till they bowled a few years and developed. The two young ladies that we're honoring tonight basically are coming from the high school teams. Now they bowled leagues also, but a lot of it's the high school teams right now seem to be the primary emphasis for a lot of the junior bowlers. The Vencraw League, which is Venango Crawford County, has upwards of 14 teams that travel around and bowl at different houses, and they have their tournaments. Many of these leagues are made up of, the leagues themselves, the teams themselves are made up of anywhere from 6th grade up to seniors. So that's quite a spread, quite a wide area, and gives a lot of young people a chance to learn the game. And the high school teams are teaching too. So it's a great thing the way it's going right now. At this time, I'd like to introduce the honorees for tonight. Abigail Powell, 17-year-old senior, Meadville High School, daughter of Sue and Gary Powell. of Meadville. Abby's been bowling for 7 years, bowled since she was 10 years old. She's bowled at Plaza, at Lakeside, and bowls on the high school team. Has been bowling for several years on the high school team. High game of 245 with numerous other 200 games. High series 576. High average 158. Has qualified for districts several times and gone on to states once. Her other interests are reading and being with her friends, obviously. She also participates in a school group, Mashapella, and is a member of Meadville High School's marching band, Color Guard, and also a member of the National Honor Society. Future plans are to attend college and major in either accounting or finance. Abby, if you would come up here, please. Congratulations, dear. Would you like to say something?
I guess I could.
Okay, you're welcome to.
Hello. So I would just like to say thank you to my parents. My mom isn't here, but my dad is. Yeah. I'm doing great.
Thanks, Abby. That's touching. The other honoree is Kirsten Miller, 18-year-old senior from Cochranton High School, daughter of Chris and Dave Miller of Cochranton. Kirsten's been bowling for 8 years, also started at age 10. She's bowled at Plaza, Lakeside, and also on the high school teams. She has been to district 6 times, qualified for states 4 times. 2-time Vencraw team regional qualifier, 1-time Vencraw girls regional qualifier. She also won the 2021-2022 Vencraw End of the Year tournament. She's placed 4th in the PA Youth Gold Pin Spring Classic Girls Tournament in 2021. High game of 258, high series 615, average currently at 190. Kirsten's other activities include playing high school softball and a member of the award-winning Cochranton Marching Band. She is also the president of her school's French club and a member of the National Honor Society. Her future plans are to attend technical school and study respiratory therapy. Kirsten, if you would come up here, please. I'll get my stool out of the way.
She doesn't need it.
You can use it.
I'd like to start off by welcoming you to this year's Hall of Fame and Honors Banquet. Thank you all for coming out here tonight to celebrate these amazing people and their accomplishments. I am so very thankful for being a part of this, and I love and appreciate everyone who has pushed me to strive for nothing less than my best. I would not be here tonight if it weren't for them, and I would like to give my thanks to them. Ramon, I would like to thank you for nominating me for this special honor and always having a smile on your face when my sister and I are around. I would also like to thank you for inviting Coach Shady to come down and work with us. It has not only built my confidence in my skills, but also in myself. The tips and tricks that he has taught me has helped me improve tremendously over these past few years. I would like to thank my teammates for picking me up when I've had a bad game and for making practices a little more bearable and matches a little more exciting. I thank my coaches for excessive encouragement and at times the kick in the butt that I need to bowl better. Next, I would like to give a special thanks to my grandparents for being some of my biggest supporters. G, you always put your whole heart into our family and never give less than 110% of your support to me. You give me extra support I need, including the "How was your match?" and the "Oh my goodness, you two should be so proud of yourselves" texts. And you never forget to always make sure I know I need to have fun. Bup, thank you for always taking me to practices and for getting me into bowling when I was little. Watching you bowl used to get me so excited to start bowling, and I am so grateful for that. GM and PM, thank you for always asking Peyton and I how we are doing and checking up on us and our hopes and dreams. I know you couldn't always get out of the house and come watch, but just asking about how we did was enough to warm our hearts. And GM, I hope I'm making you proud down here. I miss you every day, and I know that you would be happy to see Peyton and I are actually getting along for once. Mom and Dad, I would like to give my biggest thanks to you both. For the past 8 years, you have always been my biggest supporters. You give me the constructive criticism that I don't always want but need to hear. You drive me from one bowling house to the next and then back again almost every weekend during the season. The sacrifices that you make for Peyton and I are mind-blowing, and we could never thank you enough. Mom, no matter how many times you think I ignore your advice, I end up taking it into consideration one way or another. I am very stubborn, and even though you deny it, you are too. But in the end, we always seem to end up smiling together. Dad, thank you for being my favorite coach. Whenever I'm doing something wrong, you always find a way to fix it, and you dry up my tears after I get frustrated with myself, and you reassure me that it's just another day and that there will always be tomorrow. I thank you, too, for being the best parents anyone could ever ask for and for shaping me into the person I am today. There's one last person that I still haven't given my thanks to yet, and that's my sister. Peyton, where do I even start? Thank you for being my #1 fan and my biggest competitor. You are always right on my tail, pushing me to do better. You always find a way to find something funny in any situation. As I turn to the next chapter of my life, I hope to be there for you as much as I can and push you to be the best version of yourself. I would like to thank you all again for having us here tonight, and I am very grateful for all the opportunities that this honor has presented to me.
I still don't have any jokes. To Abby and Kirsten, I just want to say best of luck to both of you in your future endeavors. Wonderful young ladies, and I'm very proud of both of you. And keep bowling. Thanks to everyone else here for listening to me, and I'll turn it over to the joke master. I turned it off.
Oh, thank you, Doug. Hey, I guess I would be remiss if we didn't recognize the Rambler. I thought the food was excellent. You guys did a great job. Let's give them a hand. It's not easy feeding this rowdy bunch, but I thought they did a great job. Donnie Granda, where are you? Stand up. Donnie Granda, where are you? There he is. Stand up. Stand up. Hey, Donnie Granda just returned from state seniors. He won his division, which I believe is 50 to 54. Damn, how can you be 50 years old if I'm only 51? Anyway, congratulations, Don. Great bowling. Everybody back? Okay, the real reason for the evening, and it's not my jokes. We'll do ladies first, and then we'll go alphabetically. Betty resides on Matt Road in Meadville with her husband Frank. They have 2 daughters, Jessica and Catherine. They also have 2 granddaughters, Addison and Ivy. As I look out over the audience, Betty has an accomplishment that many of us cannot claim. Betty bowled her first 500 while pregnant. Let's just say that Jessica was exposed to bowling at a very, very young age. Betty has bowled in many local and state tournaments. She has bowled for 36 years and has been an officer and/or a director for 34 of those years. Betty has also been a board member of the local association for more than 10 years. Betty takes those responsibilities very seriously and works extremely hard for her league and her association. Betty, come on up. It's all yours. You want to stand up?
No, I'm good. Okay. Well, I got to talk in this, right? Well, I'm a little speechless, if you can understand that higher. I'm a little speechless. I mean, I like to talk, but not in front of all these people. Okay. I'd like to thank everyone for coming and the board for nominating me and accepting my nomination. I mean, I never expected it. Vicki Heim is the one that pressured me into doing this, wherever she is at. I might meet her outside later. I don't know. We have been on many great adventures together, and she's a very good friend. I'd like to thank Marcy tonight for my hair, and Mary for dressing me, because I don't dress up. I don't dress up. Mary took me to my first nationals in Reno, Nevada. That was in 2003. So, yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. I want to thank my family and all my friends for this. I need this. For your support. I don't need this thing. Yeah, I don't like talking in this. Okay. To my fellow bowlers and to my midweek family who have put up with me for all these years. I mean, they're my family. That's a great league I'm on, and I love them all dearly. Can you not hear me still? Oh well. Okay, let's see. If I recall, he said it already. My first 500 when I was pregnant with Jessica, but I can't tell you I've had a whole lot more since. I let her get them because the older you get, the worse you get. I guess I don't know, but she's a bowler too. I just like to bowl whether I do good or bad. I enjoy all my memories and all the friendships I've made over the years. I've had some physical setbacks, but I keep trucking. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep right on bowling. So once again, thanks to everybody for coming. Enjoy your evening. Love to you all. Good? All right. Here, take that back.
Okay, Betty,
Yes.
From the association, this plaque recognizes your induction into the Hall of Fame tonight,
Yes.
November the 19th, 2022. Betty Frisina Hall of Fame, Western Crawford County, USBCBA. The plaque looks like the state of Pennsylvania. Love these plaques.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Oh boy, got another one coming. Oh boy.
You also won the glass bowling pin, I guess.
Okay. I didn't want to ring.
Don't knock that one down.
No, no, it's rather heavy.
And Sue Shekel has something from the Pennsylvania State
I'm gonna
Association.
snag this.
And now on this day, the 19th day of November, in the year of our Lord 2022, whereas Betty Frisina has made significant contributions to and achieved much in the sports of American 10-pin bowling in the Western Crawford County, USBC. And whereas, as a result of these contributions and achievements, said Betty Frisina has been recognized by her peers of being worthy of induction into the Western Crawford County USBC Hall of Fame. Now, therefore, the officers and directors of the Pennsylvania State USBC themselves and on behalf of the bowlers of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania they represent, do proudly recognize and congratulate Betty Frisina for her induction into the Western Crawford County USBC Hall of Fame.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is heavy. Nobody better mess with me. I can knock them out with that.
Brian was born on March the 14th, 1963. My Lord, in 1963 I graduated from high school. I am old. He currently resides in Franklin with his wife Kathy. They have 3 boys, Mike, Tyler, and Ryan. Brian has a high game of 300, numerous 700s, and one 800 series, and a league high average of 210. Brian is also one of, to quote Jimmy Hunter, dangerous Cockerton crushers. However, all of this almost did not happen. As a 21-year-old, Brian accidentally cut off the end of his right pointer finger and decided to put his bowling ball in storage for 8 years. In 1994, a few friends talked Brian into coming back to bowling, and the rest is history. On February the 4th, 2019, Brian bowled his first career 300 game. Brian also credits Ron Barnes for taking him under his wing, teaching him the ropes, and how to read the lane conditions at Cockerton Lanes. Brian has bowled in many local and state tournaments, and has also bowled 2 299 games, 2 298 games, and 1 297 games, 1 297 game, along with a career high of 807 series. Brian?
Oh, that didn't work. Hi, everybody, and thank you all for coming. The road to the Hall of Fame is tough. You have to fill out an application that somebody throws in your face and says, fill this out. Then you have to remember dates, scores, and whatever else that goes with that. And I said, to heck with that. I just wrote on the back of mine, I have to put up with Larry Hoffman for 30 plus years. All about Larry. So seriously, how did this road start? Besides Rocky, it wasn't very good in the beginning. I was a low average bowler. I cut the end of my finger off and gave it up for a little while. Then I came back because a few friends of mine asked me to bowl again. Little did I know that a good friend of mine that I played softball with worked at the bowling alley, and we were reminiscing one day, and he asked me what I do on Friday nights, and I said, it all depends. So I started going and working with Barney, and he helped me and showed me the ropes to what I have to do in Cockerton Lanes. Cockerton isn't an easy house, especially back then. So lo and behold, later on in the year, I found out that Barney had overheard 2 of my teammates, and one of them was saying that he wasn't going to be the low average bowler anymore because Brian was bowling. So that's where Barney took me under his wing and showed me how to bowl at Cockerton Lanes. Not only was I not the low, I was the high on the team that year. In that year, I threw my first 700, never had a 6. I also threw an 800 before I threw a 300, not in that year, but in the lifetime of it. And it's just been a success story thanks to him. I owe a lot to Barney. If it wasn't for him, Keith, Becky, the bowling alley at Cockerton, I wouldn't be standing here for you today. You guys all have a good night, and thank you once again. Wow, that doesn't work.
Guess not. Once again, Brian, a plaque honoring your induction November 19th, 2022, and a Hall of Fame ring.
Thank you.
And now this 19th day of November in the year of our Lord 2022, whereas Brian Huth has made significant contributions to and achieved much in the sport of 10-pin bowling in the Western Crawford County USBC. And whereas, as a result of these contributions and achievements, said Brian Huth has been recognized by his peers of being worthy of induction into the Western Crawford County USBC Hall of Fame. Now, therefore, the officers and directors of the Pennsylvania State USBC, themselves, and on behalf of the bowlers of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania they represent, do proudly recognize and congratulate Brian Huth for his induction into the Western Crawford County USBC Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
This is for Tom. Tom was born on March 17th, 1976. He and his wife Kathleen were married for 15 years and they have 2 daughters, Emily and Jocelyn. Tom was involved in an industrial accident that damaged his lungs and severely damaged his heart. Tom wore an external heart pump, but that did not slow him down. I really enjoyed talking to Kathleen earlier this week, getting to know Tom better. Don Granda Jr. called Tom the silent assassin. I personally thought more of Tom as the gentle giant. He didn't say much, kind of shy. He just let his bowling do the talking. Our paths only crossed in tournaments. I bowled primarily in Meadville, and Tom bowled at the Lake, Penline Lanes, and in Ohio. Tom was 6'11" tall. On a good day, I might be 5'6" tall. Tom was a prankster, a boilermaker, electrician, a skilled woodworker, avid hunter and fisherman. He worked on cars, ran a chainsaw. He remodeled their house and put on a new roof. All of these things were done while wearing his heart pump. He also went downhill skiing and to their cabin in Canada, but he was not allowed to swim. Tom bowled 21 career 300 games, 5 career 800 series, and averaged over 220 for many seasons. His last 300 came less than a month before his death on March the 9th, 2018. Tom had extremely low blood pressure. He might have passed out, fell, and ruptured his spleen. Tom is gone way too soon, but he lives on in the hearts and minds of his family and friends. He will not be forgotten, and tonight he is immortalized as the newest member of the Western Crawford County Bowling Hall of Fame. Kathleen.
I just want to say thank you for him. I don't have a speech. He loved bowling, and this is one of his dreams. Sorry. He loved his bowling family. I used to tease him that he loved bowling more than me sometimes, but because there was a few years he bowled like 5 nights a week, and I worked full time, so he was gone all the time. He did get me to bowl with him a few years, and I had a blast doing it. And I had a hard time doing it after he was gone, but I gave it up. I just want to thank everybody here.
Here's a plaque commemorating Tom's induction and the glass bowling pin.
So those that know me know I wear my heart on my sleeve, and oh my. So now this 19th day of November in the year of our Lord 2022, whereas Tom Young has made significant contributions to and achieved much in the sport of 10-pin bowling in the Western Crawford County USBC. And whereas as a result of these contributions and achievements, said Tom Young has been recognized by his peers of being worthy of induction into the Western Crawford County USBC Hall of Fame. Now, therefore, the officers and directors of the Pennsylvania State USBC, themselves and on behalf of the bowlers of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania they represent, do proudly recognize and congratulate Tom Young for his induction into the Western Crawford County USBC Hall of Fame.
Susan, I believe you're up next. Pennsylvania State USBC Vice President, Susan Shekel. From the greater Harrisburg area? Lancaster, oh, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Susan Schickel, and I am the Vice President for the Pennsylvania USBC. On behalf of President Jay Derryman, Vice President Renee Talkington, and Association Manager Sue Kresge, we appreciate the invitation. I do have a few of my fellow state board members here that I would like to just mention. Mike Coyle, Bob Durr, John Mikowski. I know they're from this area of the state, but they are state representatives as well. Congratulations to all the award winners who are being honored tonight. For those that were inducted into the Hall of Fame, be very proud of this feat. For being a Hall of Fame member is a great accomplishment. It is being an elite member of a good brotherhood and sisterhood. Celebrate it. I have placed flyers around on all the tables in the room highlighting our state calendar of events for the bowling season of 22-23. The State Bowling Association appreciates your support of our annual tournaments. Please continue to come out and bowl. Bowling is coming back, people. We're coming back.
Amen.
Remember to visit our PA USBC website at bowlpa.com. There is lots of information out there. We are currently accepting Hall of Fame applications for our Hall of Fame as well next year. So go out and visit. They're due in December. Western Crawford, again, thank you for hosting this event tonight and extending our invitation. Your hospitality has been great, and I hope everyone has enjoyed the festivities. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Oh, I forgot Tom Wachowski. I'm sorry, Tom's a state member too.
Don't worry, Mike forgot me earlier, so it's okay.
You're
I
forgettable.
work hard at it, but just forget.
Too much glare.
Watch it, Mike, there's a lot of us out here.
Oh, yeah, yes, there are. Yeah, it's tough. That's what the stool's for. Hey, if you look at the program, our guest speaker is Chris Vi. If you drop the A, looks like 6. So I called him Chris 6. So Chris was born on March the 9th, 1992. He's from Springfield, Ohio. Chris started bowling at the age of 1. He attended Kenton Ridge High School in Springfield, and his high school team won the Ohio State Bowling Championships in 2009 and 2010. He bowled collegiately at Notre Dame College in South Euclid, Ohio. Now, if that sounds familiar, That's where Jerica Heibel went to school. Chris was on the men's team, Jerica was on the women's team. He earned a degree in accounting, and his bowling prowess won him National Collegiate All-American honors 3 straight seasons. While in college, he won a 2013 PBA Regional Tour event as a non-member. He was a member of Junior Team USA in 2011 and 2012, and won a team gold medal at the 2012 World Youth Bowling Championships. He was also a Team USA member from 2016 through 2018. He joined the PBA in 2017. In his first full season, he cashed in 12 events, made match play 7 times, made 1 championship round appearance, and won his first regional tour title as a PBA member. Chris rolled the PBA's tour's 30th ever televised perfect 300 game. He also rolled the PBA's 32nd televised perfect 300 game. Chris has a 2-hand delivery with a dominant right hand, and last year won the 2021 US Open Championship. Chris also co-owns TV Bowling Supply in Columbus, Ohio, with fellow PBA member Michael Tang. He is a pro staff member for Storm Bowling Balls and Turbo Grips Inserts. Let's give a warm Western Crawford County welcome to Mr. Chris Day.
Thank you very much. And Mike stole a bit of my speech, so I apologize if some of this sounds a bit redundant. But first I want to thank Stacy Dodson and the entire Western Crawford County USBC for having me out. Stacy's been in contact with me and kind of got everything arranged, so thank you very much. And actually Tom's son Nick had reached out to me earlier this week and sent me a very nice message, you know, thanking me for coming up here tonight and being the guest. And he started to list a couple of the names that you guys have had in the past, and I'll be honest, not really sure how my name stacks up with some of those names, but we'll see what we can do here. And I can't promise any fantastic stories like Parker Bone or Larry Lichstein probably gave you guys, but we'll see what we can do here. So. Like Mike said, I got into the sport at a very young age. I actually started bowling about 18 months old. My entire family, very avid bowlers, mostly being led by my dad. My dad was, you know, not only a very good bowler, he was a bowler that pretty much never stopped. I believe at one point in time he was bowling 8 leagues a week. Obviously, that is more leagues than days. So, I believe it was Sundays that he was leaving early, bowling in the morning, and then traveling and bowling again. So, yeah. Needless to say, I was in a bowling alley a lot when I was young. So, but I wasn't one of those kids that was running around, you know, in the game room or whatever it may be, trying to play video games. I was just enamored with bowling. They used to always tease me that every time I went to bowl, I sat down at the very front settee area, the very front chair, and I never moved for the entire night. They tried to get me to go play video games, they tried to get me to go elsewhere, but I just wouldn't move. You know, I was, you know, giving high fives to those bowlers who were coming off, and, you know, jokingly, you know, at least at that young age, I thought I was helping them, but you know, that probably wasn't the case at all, but they said that I helped. You know, we'll leave it at that, I guess. So, but once, you know, I just stayed there night after night. Wanted to be just like my dad growing up, and you know, eventually, got a little bit old enough to, you know, be able to carry a bowling ball somewhat by myself, and obviously my dad helped me out, but. We would stay after he bowled league, and you know, I would be able to bowl a game. I'm sure sure it probably took 35 or 40 minutes for my ball to get down there and come back. But that's probably why I was limited to one game. But you know, I just fell in love with the sport at a very young age. So you know, it's really all I wanted to do. I played a bunch of other sports growing up, but you know, bowling was always my true passion. So I followed it as much as I could. And growing up, my parents always wanted to challenge me. You know, they saw that how much passion, how much love I had for the game, but they wanted me to be as good as I wanted to be. And they always bowled. You know, they had me bowl up a division. So I was always bowling against either older kids or kids that had a higher average than me or whatever it may be. And partly, obviously they wanted me to have a little bit more of a competition, but the more I look back on it, the more I realized I think they just wanted my sister to have a teammate. She was kind of the one that was always in the back, not really paying attention when it was her turn. So I don't think too many people actually wanted to bowl with her because they were, you know, she was taking forever. So I think part of it was, you know, well, she can't find a teammate, so let's just give her a brother. And you know, also, you know, they had 2 youth divisions, so you know, they had the real young kids in the morning and they had the older kids at night. So you know, why be there for 4 hours when you can just be there for 2? So we'll just move him up a division. And hey, I guess it ended up all working out for everyone. So, but I learned a lot of these experiences growing up, and I think one of the biggest, you know, lessons that I learned was, you know, how to become a good loser or a good sport at, you know, at a very young age. So obviously competing against, you know, higher level bowlers. I wasn't winning too often. Once it became, you know, a handicap tournament, I did all right. I did all right. With you know, a 63 average will get you places when you can shoot it. I get 85 or 100, so it ended up working out a couple of times. But I definitely learned how to lose at a young age. And I know Walter has stood up in this room and given you guys a speech before, and as the PBA's all-time title leader, he's actually won less than 5% of the tournaments that he's entered throughout his PBA career. So everyone sees him as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. It's hard to argue. Obviously, there's some guy from Australia that's making a pretty good case moving forward here, but we won't mention any names. I'm trying to beat him every week I go out, and it's not too fun. But yeah, so Walter's won less than 5% of the tournaments that he's entered. So obviously most of us in this room have all experienced defeat more often than success. So being able to learn that at a young age not only translates to the sport of bowling, but really life in general. So learning very good life skills and how to handle situations, you know, I felt like I'm very thankful for my youth period growing up. So as Mike mentioned, I've had some pretty cool experiences being a part of some different organizations. I've been a part of, obviously, the PBA. I've been a part of Team USA, and I've been a part of college bowling, high school bowling, many different things in the sport of bowling. So some of the accolades which Mike have already mentioned, but I wrote them down, so I'm going to say them anyway. So I was a 2-time member of Junior Team USA. We won the gold medal in Bangkok, Thailand back in 2012. So that was pretty cool. I was a 3-time collegiate All-American. Like he's mentioned, I went with Jerica Heibel. We were there together for 4 years, and I don't think any family is here tonight of hers, but I did want to give her and her husband Jordan a shout out. They're doing some pretty cool things down at Marion University in Indianapolis. I was mentioning to Tom earlier about it's kind of weird that, you know, life has come full circle, and you know, we went to college together. We became really good friends, and now a kid that I'm helping back at home is now going to Marion next year, and so I'm basically now sending her recruits. So it is pretty cool. It's a small little circle, and a thank you to her as well. She kind of put everyone in contact between me and Stacy to kind of get this ball rolling. So shout out to Jericho. As well, I was the 2016 U.S. Amateur Champion. And then later on that year, I decided to turn pro, so I was no longer able to compete in that event, but I did my due diligence in my one attempt, and I was able to win. So I'm now a 4-time member of Team USA. I was a part of Team USA this year as well. After a few-year hiatus, the COVID thing kind of messed up the team there for a few years, but I was able to win a gold medal in 2017 in Las Vegas. That event actually was originally supposed to be held in, I believe, where was it? Kuwait. I believe it was supposed to be held in Kuwait. I was pretty excited to go over there. I feel like that was a pretty cool bucket list place to be able to kind of check off. And then about 2 months before, they're like, yes, psych, we're actually going to Las Vegas, where you guys go 7 or 8 times a year. So you got to go to Las Vegas again. So I know a lot of people always are envious about going to Las Vegas. Like, oh, you get to go to Las Vegas. I'm like, dude, you can go for me. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it at this point. But like I said, obviously it ended up being a pretty good trip because it ended up working out for us. So I've bowled 2 nationally televised 300 games. I believe I believe there's 3 people that have bowled 2, and I believe I'm the only person to bowl both of them in the same year. So it's a pretty cool little nugget of PBA history, I guess, that I can be a part of. So I won the 2021 U.S. Open, and that same year I also won a all-events Eagle at the USBC Open Championships. And kind of the cool part about it was I actually won a youth Eagle at the 2011 championships, also that was held in Las Vegas. So in the same building, I actually won a youth Eagle and an adult Eagle, so that was pretty cool. And I promise I'm not just up here bragging about myself. There's a side story to this. So in total, I've actually traveled to 16 countries that I've competed in all across the world. It's been a really fun ride, and it's been obviously a journey that, without the sport of bowling, I wouldn't have been able to see probably all of these countries. So I'm very, very thankful for everything that the sport has given me. And with that being said, honestly, my greatest memory in the sport of bowling comes in a room much like this one. As they mentioned, I'm from Springfield, Ohio, and for those of you who don't know, also a pretty small town. We have about 50,000 people or so. We have a small association as well. And it's actually, haven't never spoken about this. So, so the greatest memory I've ever had in the sport of bowling, I stood up here, I was able to give a speech, and I was able to induct my father into the local association's Hall of Fame. Awesome. And I'm never one to stand up here and give speeches. This was kind of the exact opposite of what I wanted to do, when I was younger. As much as I could avoid attention, I would. But to be able to stand up there that night, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to be able to stand up there and talk about my dad and share some of the great memories that I've had, and being able to watch him go through the sport of bowling and the way he's handled himself is exactly the way I wanted to handle myself growing up. So to be able to be there, to be able to say some words about my dad that, we may not express, openly, but to a candid room, that to show how much he truly meant to me, and how much, even though he may not have known how much I was paying attention to what he was doing, how he handled himself, through the good times and through the bad times. I'd like to think that the reason, the way I handle myself today is because of him. So, I want to congratulate Betty, Brian, Tom and his family, Abby and Kirsten as well for their awards. And I hope that you guys were able to create some special memories like I was able to create giving a speech for my father. So thank you again very much for having me out, and hope everyone has a great evening. Thank you. Oh, okay. Apparently I'm taking a few questions, so Q&A. See, this would have made my life so much easier. I'm much better at Q&As than giving random speeches. So, yeah, please, if anyone has any questions, please fire away.
Have you always bowled two-handed?
Yeah. So obviously, starting bowling at 18 months old, bowling ball weighed just as much as I did. So throwing it traditionally or with all three fingers wasn't really ever an option. I did have a lot of kind of flack growing up because it was out of the ordinary. No one had really done it before. No one had seen it. Jason and Osku hadn't made any TV shows yet, so there was really no evidence that this was kind of a thing. And had a lot of people tell me, you're not allowed to do that, it's illegal, blah, 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 and the whole spiel. And eventually it got to my mom, and my mom was, kind of like, hey, maybe these people are right, and, you're not going to be able to bowl tournaments that way, you can only bowl league, and, just people kind of making up some stories. And eventually my mom made me bowl one-handed, and I bowled 2 years one-handed, and I quit. So that's actually a story of that people don't know fully of my, I guess, career path in bowling. But yeah, I bowled traditionally for 2 years. Hated every second of it. I quit, and I went and played travel basketball. But that side of the story is I started high school, I was 4'9" and weighed 90 pounds, so I didn't really get much court time either. So going into high school, basketball really wasn't on the table. I don't think I was going to the University of Pittsburgh or anything like that to play basketball. So my friends reached out to me and said, hey, bowling team started up the previous year. Why don't you come and bowl? It being a winter sport, and I wasn't going to be playing basketball, which is the winter sport as well. So it gave me something to do, and I was like, sure, why not? We'll go out and bowl. And well, thankfully, my mom worked on Saturday mornings when we went back to bowl. Well, just so turned out that if she's not there, won't hurt if she's not here, to just go ahead and bowl two-handed. Well, I was averaging about 135 or 140 bowling one-handed. It wasn't very good. So come back, and all of a sudden I'm averaging like 204, 205, something like that. And my mom's like, wow, like maybe you just needed some time off, like you gotten pretty good. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. It just, I don't know, something clicked, and I guess I just, forgot some bad habits or something like that. Well, about a month or so later, she took a vacation day, of course, and was like, oh, I'm going to come watch you bowl.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, crap. All right. So I threw her first couple shots, regular one-handed, and I was like, screw it. Like, what's she going to do? Is she going to ground me or whatever it may be? So I started bowling two-handed again, and she takes me, and she's like, is that why your scores are so much higher? You're bowling two-handed again? I was like, yeah. She was like, well, at least you're having fun, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, it's way more fun than bowling one-handed. And she was like, all right, well, do whatever you want. So that's kind of the story of how I guess I got back to two-handed bowling. So it was a little bit of a bumpy ride there, but with Jason and Osku coming onto the scene, it kind of helped everything. So it's pretty cool.
Will you explain two-handed bowling? Do you put your fingers in
Yeah.
your thumb also, or no?
No.
Just two fingers.
There's a couple of two-handers out there that use their thumb as well, but I would say 99% are just the two fingers. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that doesn't use any fingers at all. So it'd be very hard to create any sort of rotation on the ball. But yeah, it's just the two fingers, and the left hand comes off right towards the end before release. So it's still a traditional one-handed release for those naysayers out there. So
Now, do you slide a lot or just plant your foot?
I've actually learned how to slide in the last couple of years. So I was a big just kind of planter, but I started to have some knee problems and also some ability to control some speed. So I actually learned how to slide, I guess about 4 years ago now. I think it was about 3 years ago now. So I learned how to slide, and I think that's been a big improvement to my game.
What is your target? Are you extremely left and go over like the center arrow?
Oh, I mean, it just all depends. I mean, I try to be as versatile as I can, so it just kind of depends on what the shot calls for. You know, we bowl on pretty much anything and everything, anywhere from 32 feet, anywhere to 50 or 52 feet. So, you got a question, buddy? What's up?
How old were you when you bowled your 300?
My first 300? How old do you think I was? I'll give you a reference. How old do you think I am right now?
I don't know.
Fair enough. So I'm 30 right now. So how old do you think I was? A reminder, I started bowling when I was less than 2 years old.
6.
6? Man, I wish. Have you already bowled a 300? No? All right. It's actually I was, let's see here, I was 24 years old when I bowled my first 300, which a lot of people don't believe, because I've had a lot of success prior to. I had been on Junior 2MSA for 2 years. I had won an international gold medal and an international silver medal. I bowled an 800 all before I shot one 300. Wow. So that's pretty cool. Do you have another question? No? All right. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, if anyone else has any questions, I'll be happy to. Yeah.
Your two-head style, just from viewing you on television, is much more controlled than some of your predecessors who are more violent in their releases, and I just was curious about that.
Well, thank you, first of all. I appreciate the kind words, but obviously it's been a lot of work that's put into it. Obviously, when I told the story about me being very, very small, and even up until I was about 14 or 15, I actually pretty much ran to the line because I couldn't create any ball speed, and I've had to slowly kind of work backwards because I had such a big growth spurt in a very short period of time. So I kind of went from one extreme to the other, and then I've kind of tried to work in between. But I mean, really, realistically, my goal has always been to eliminate any extra movement that's really not necessary. I feel like the two-handed style already has some pretty big benefits from the position our body is able to get into, and our hand is pretty far underneath of it, which is creating all of the revs. So if my hand's already doing most of the work, I don't really need to throw my body around for really no reason. So I felt like if I could eliminate a lot of those movements, I would be able to kind of tie in the accuracy part with the power that I was already creating. Yeah. Any others? It doesn't even have to be about bowling. It can be about whatever you want. To an extent. No? All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for having me out again.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. I'd like to thank Sue Schenkel especially. She came from the state 4 hours away to come represent the state of Pennsylvania. Thank you, Sue. She brought her beautiful bald-headed husband, Terry, with her, and he's a great guy. Yes. But seriously, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Congratulations to Brian. Tom was a great friend of mine. I looked up to Tom every time I talked to him because he was 6'11" and I'm only 6 foot. I can't say enough about the Gentle Giant. The man had a heart of gold, and he'd give anything to everybody. And he was the sweetest man I ever knew. And unfortunately, God took them too early. But you were blessed to have them, and you have two beautiful children with them. So congratulations. And congratulations to you, Betty.